Hello there, happy Monday and welcome to the Offload for another week. We're joined today by Andrew Webster and Josh Morris from the Continuous Call team. G'day boys, good to be here.
Good afternoon.
Good to be here.
We'll see how this goes with three different heads on the screen, so this will be an interesting one. Let's start, obviously, before we look through the weekend games. I'm keen just to wrap up what's happened with Zac Lomax, boys, and obviously he signed a 2-year deal with the Western Force. There'll be a big chance here of playing for the Wallabies as well. Webby, just bring us up to date on that.
Well, it's just been announced today that he's done a 2-year deal with the Western Force. To be honest, I don't think he had any other options at all. Zac Lomax, he says in the press release that dropped a few minutes ago that he wanted the challenge of playing in a World Cup on Australian soil. Well, let's be fair dinkum, like he didn't really have many options to go to. I hope it works out for Zac, but Rugby Union's been beating their chest in the last couple of hours saying how this is they've signed another NRL player. He went and did a tour of all these Super Rugby franchises in November, then went completely cold on it, was going to sign with the Melbourne Storm until that was blocked. So he didn't really have much choice but to sign with Rugby Union. He couldn't source a deal in France, he couldn't source a deal in Japan, and he couldn't source a deal with another NRL club. So I'm not sure what the money is exactly, but Rugby Union types was telling me last week that it was around 400, and he can build on that if he stays in the game. But it's hopefully this is the last time I ever speak about Zac Lomax ever again.
For the next 2 years at least. Josh, what do you make of the latest? How do you reckon he'll go in rugby? And in the end, they couldn't get a deal done for him to stay with another league team because Parramatta wouldn't let him go.
It's frustrating. I mean, yeah, he took less money to go to Parramatta to play in the centres and then got put on the wing, played representative football, and then got a sense that he might be able to make some money in this R360 comp, and it fell through. He took a gamble, it didn't pay off, and then he tried to come back and then go to another club. Like I just think the way it's been handled has been poor, and I guess the fact that he hasn't finished his last two contracts as well, and there are rumours around about his character, the type of person he is off the field as well. That those whispers grow and grow, and then you just don't know. And like Webby said, I reckon that was his only choice. He only had the one option, and it's disappointing because he is a talented player. We don't want to lose our best players to Rugby Union, let's be honest. But it's his own doing. He's got no one else to blame but himself. He took a punt, didn't come off, and now he moves on, and we move on from him. There'll be someone else that'll step into his spot.
What would you worry about those things in general, Josh? If someone joined a team that you were playing in and they had that recent contract history, is that a concern? Or do you just say, hey, look, we've got to get on with the season, and if they can play, they can play?
Look, I don't know. It's just the thing these days, isn't it? I mean, I got a release while I was at the Sharks to go to the Roosters as well. The contracts these days aren't what they used to be. They're not watertight. There's loopholes in probably every playing contract around. So, but like I said, he tried to take a gamble on this competition, thinking that he could set himself up for life, and he's probably cost himself upwards of $1 million.
Yeah, no doubt. Hey, it was a fascinating opening round with some blowouts I don't think anyone really expected. Webby, firstly on Souths yesterday, it was a great game, a lot of points, 70 points in total, and so good to see all their star players out there having a crack. I thought they were all brilliant.
They were. I'm excited about South this year. I reckon they're a real threat. Obviously, with the feeder there, it all depends on whether Latrell and Cody stay fit and on the field. But they look good, didn't they?
Hey, Webby, I'm with you. I'm with you, Webby. I think it all comes down to if they can keep these players on the park. And Cody, I think Cody's the biggest one. I mean, their halves depth isn't really that strong. I mean, they had Humphries is there. Young Ashton Ford hurt himself yesterday. And then they had Jonah Glover, who came across from the Dragons from memory, and he hurt himself in the Charity Shield. So they're kind of, in the halves, they're depth tested already. And we saw the effect of losing Cody, what it had on their spine last year. They weren't able to score as many points. So if Cody Walker is a key man, because not only does he come up with their attack, he gets the ball to Latrell. He knows the importance of Latrell and that left edge. And if Latrell can maintain, his weight and his fitness throughout the year, because he's not playing fullback now, he's not going to be doing as much running. He needs to be careful, because at the start of the season, everyone's in shape. But it's, that middle part of the season where you're not training as much, sometimes your diet can slip, and before you know it, you can put a bit of weight on. If he can manage his weight throughout the year and look in the shape that he is now at the back end of the season, wow, Souths are a real prospect, but they've got to stay injury-free.
And Alex Johnston approaching the all-time try scorer record. He scored 1 try at the weekend. It could be broken if he scores a double in Friday night's grudge match with the Roosters at Allianz Stadium. Wayne Bennett-Webby has said that he doesn't want everyone storming the field like we've seen when Buddy Franklin broke the all-time AFL record in recent years. Personally, I would love to see that happen. I want everyone on the field. I think it's too special not to.
I think that's the old copper in Wayne Bennett coming out. He doesn't want anyone breaking any rules. The club thinks the same way. I spoke to Blake Solly just before coming on air, and he said, look, he supports what Wayne has said. Look, I read today that they're going to increase security. I think they should lean into it. If it's going to happen, then they should lean into it. Like there's such incredible moments that have happened with the Swans, Buddy, obviously with who was it? Tony Lockett. They're great scenes, and the AFL are prepared to stop the game and let them come on. Souths are going to try and get the players off if it does happen. Josh, I liked your idea, though, before we came on air. I'm not going to steal your thunder.
No, well, actually, Webby, who actually gets the fine if people get on? Because it's $5,500. This could be a great revenue raiser for whoever gets the fine.
They can put the roof on ankle with the price. There you go.
There you go. Problem solved. But no, I said, look, it probably is going to happen. Why don't they just wait until full time? You wait until full time, get some barricades set up, and then let the fans come on and enjoy their moment. Although I know the Roosters players. I've played in that grudge match. I know they'll be doing their best to stop him from scoring. They won't want to be the ones that guaranteed the record for Alex Johnston. So there's a lot of storylines leading into that, and I just think Wayne doesn't want people to run onto the field, because half the time he looks like he's going to fall asleep in those matches at 8:30 on Friday nights. If people come on the field, it's going to take half an hour to clear them. He may even just go straight to bed. He won't even worry about the end of the match. So that's what we got to worry about. I think that's what he's worried about.
I think it happens. There'll be, even if you tell people not to, they'll do it. So, and it's a very
it's a beautiful thing, like the serendipity of it happening against the Roosters is hilarious,
Hey, did the 6 again rule, what do we think about? Actually, let me just ask you it this way. The average 20-point winning margin across this round 1, was the highest for an opening weekend since 2022. There's some talk that the changed 6 again rule has contributed to that in any way. Do we think so, or is it just a blip? I've got to say, I'm not too sure about that. J-Moz, what say you?
I absolutely hate it. I think the rule in general, there's just no accountability for 6 against. They just give them out like they're lollies these days. Like, if I was going to change anything, if you're going to give a penalty inside the own 20 to get them out of their own half, let's bring back the penalty inside the 20 in the red zone and start chucking blokes in the bin for that. Like, if you have a look at I called the Manly-Canberra game. Canberra didn't touch the ball for pretty much the first 12 or 13 minutes. And the amount of 6 agains they had inside the red zone, if they had been penalties, after 5 minutes, one of them would have went to the bin. And they would have then tightened up. And I just think that there's just no accountability for it. Sometimes you don't even know what they're for. And also now that it's outside the 20, blokes can just fly out of the line, be offside by 3 or 4 metres, and just fly out of the line, try and take someone out just to try and slow the momentum of the set down. So the teams can use it to their advantage to try and stop a team's momentum. So I just really don't like it. I think it needs to go back to the penalty inside the 40, or, like I said, bring in the penalties inside the 20-metre zones and start binning people more often. Like, we just can't. It's just annoying. The fans are getting annoyed with it. You speak to the fans all the time, and these referees, they just give 6 away against, and we don't even know what they're for. And us as commentators, we don't even know what they're for sometimes. So, I just think sometimes the NRL are a bit knee-jerk reactive to stuff, and I think they've got this one wrong.
Webby, what do you make of it at this stage?
Stop changing the rules. Like, I mean, they rushed this in during the COVID break, and now this is the third change to that rule since it started. Like, it's policy on the run, really. And I agree with J-Mods. It's like they're so subjective. They're so subjective, and it gives so much momentum to a team. So, they want to. I texted Peter Volandis during the other night, and I said maybe this is these blowouts are a sign that your kickoff change is right, but they only want to make the kickoff change because the six to goes have made it so easy to get momentum.
And that's the thing as well, Webby, when you're talking about subjective, like the older referees get a feel for the game. Like they know when to give them and when not to give them. The younger referees don't have that feel at the moment, so they're just giving them nilly-willy. And you talk about the speed of the game. We're getting to a fine line now where it's almost touch football. Like, that's not what our game is. Our game is brutal. It's a game that not everyone can play. Like, it is a physical game. And if you bring in the speed and speed it up too much, it becomes like touch football. You're going to see a lot more fatigue in the game. You're going to see a lot more concussions because blokes are too tired. They're going to stick their head in the wrong spot. So we've got to get a fine line here between the pace of the play and injuries and things like that as well.
There's nothing wrong with defence. There's two sides of the game. Like, I'm a traditionalist.
Hey, the players know what they're signing up for, Webby.
That's right. But so the NRL's buzz phrase at the moment is ball in play. And they like to say how much the ball's in play in comparison to rugby union. Thanks, Scoop. I think we've all watched both games for long enough to know the difference. But you know what I mean? I don't think defence is necessarily a bad thing. And they've tried, and it's always hard trying to balance those two things between attack and defence. You're right, it's gone far too the other way.
They say defence wins competitions, don't they? And now pretty much it's whoever can stop momentum wins competitions. Because that's what it is. The team that gets the six agains gets this huge wave of momentum. The defence has to make a whole heap of tackles. And if they can't stop the momentum, well, then they get their score blown out. If they can stop the momentum and then get it back, then they go on a run and they end up getting the scores back to even or winning. So at the moment, it's whoever controls momentum wins games, not defence.
Boys, any major alarm bells from the weekend? The Storm beat the Eels 52-4. The Sharks beat the Titans 50-10. Obviously, are we saying far too early for any major concerns?
Yeah, look, I mean, the 50-point, you can't win a comp. It's been proven. It's history. Someone's going to break it one day. It's a stat that has to be broken. But round one, I mean, like everyone's so critical of the Broncos. Yes, they were poor, but it's round one. I remember last year they started the season. Their first month of football was horrendous. I think they played Manly down at Brookvale and got absolutely flogged, and everyone was calling for Madge's head. And then they went on this run where all they did was just control the football and just dominate possession. And that's all you need to do in this first month of football. It's a pretty simple game sometimes, rugby league. If you get a fair share of possession and you complete really high, you give yourself every chance to win. And right now, those sides that were on the end of those big scorelines were sides that didn't do that.
I was very disappointed in the Titans, I've got to say. New coach, new ownership. Tino had re-signed. I thought it was like, it was a really again. It's early and it's Josh Hannane's first season, but to me it just confirmed that they've got so much more to do. And the thing is, and I know this is probably reading into it too much, but to see those players on the field afterwards joking around with their opposition players, I just thought, you've just had 50 scored against you. I just would have thought they might have cared a little bit more.
Yeah, it's one of those fine ones though, Webby, as well, because when I was a young player, I used to be filthy, right? I used to hate losing, and you develop relationships over your career as you get a bit older, and these are blokes that you don't really see that often. So when you see them after the game, the full-time whistle's gone. I can't change a result. I mean, that's done. But what I'm going to go and catch up and say hello to me mate. And sometimes the cameras get it there while you're sharing a laugh and whatnot. But that's a good thing about our game. You can go there 80 minutes, bash the shit out of each other, and then go and have a laugh after the match. So I think sometimes we are a bit too critical.
It's a bad look. It's a bad look, James. It's a terrible look, particularly if you're a Titans fan and a member. To me, it stood out. I just thought, I understand you go and talk to former teammates and friends and blokes you played rep footy with, but
You would prefer to see it off camera than on camera.
well, just don't be. They just look too happy.
It was a pretty bad loss. So was Friday night. What happened to the Broncos over against the Panthers? 26-0 at Suncorp, coming off a premiership.
That was the same thing. It was just they just didn't respect the ball at all. They turned it over. A lot of just unforced errors, just drop passes. Reece Walsh kind of had a mixed game, threw an intercept for a try. Tried to come up with a couple of high percentage plays that turned out to be low percentage plays, really. And Penrith just showed them the blueprint of how to start a season. And they spoke about it. Nathan Cleary spoke about it at the start of the game. We're just going to put them in positions where we want to put them, and then just put them under pressure. And that's all they did for 80 minutes. They didn't go away from it, and then they just slowly cracked the Broncos' side. But to keep them to nil, that was a fair statement for round one.
Boys, also, can someone explain to me what a disruptor is and why it's suddenly become an issue from round one? Who would like to go first on this?
I'll let Webby go first on this one.
I didn't even know it was a real change. I didn't even know. Didn't it used to be called a cynical disruptor?
Oh, mate.
There was an email from the NRL at the start of the season to say, if, in the opinion of the referee or the bunker, a player does not genuinely contest for the ball and interferes with the ability of the opposing player to contest for the ball, this may be considered obstruction and penalised.
See, there you go. At the start of the season. They didn't even try it in the trials. I had no idea about it until someone said, there's a new rule. And I was like, well, what is it? And then you see on the weekend, you're supposed to get two hands to it. 2 hands. Stone Street knocks it back with one hand. They score off it. Doesn't come back. So they make up a rule, and then they don't even know the rule. They can't even police a rule. As I spoke about, the reactive nature of these rules. It's just a stupid rule. Yes, if they go through and just don't even make a play at the ball, then it's a penalty. But to get 2 hands to it, I just think is a bit ridiculous. If they can manage to avoid all the defenders and get their hands to the ball and bat it back, that's fair play.
Yeah, Webby, the rest of the email says, genuinely contesting is deemed to mean arriving at the ball at the same time as the defender and with 2 arms in the air to catch or bat the ball back. This covers all kicks, including short kicks, to restart play.
Well, James, you tell me. Sometimes your body position, I'm assuming, you can only get one hand to it.
Yep. So if you did a double foot takeoff when you finally got to the ball and you go both hands, you can't jump as high. You can go up higher off 1 foot and 1 arm in the air, and that's what you're going to see most players doing. Unless you have a proper run off and don't get impeded, then you can go contest the ball with 2 hands above your head. But more often than not, you're only getting 1 hand to it and then bringing the other one later on to grip the ball. So it's just, to me, that rule is just farcical.
Well, there's a couple over the weekend where a player used 1 hand and that was deemed to be illegal, but it's all very confusing for fans. If you've been following the game your whole life and they change something via an email in the off-season, they might need a public awareness campaign or something on buses and everything else to say, these are the 5 rule changes this year.
Stop changing the rules.
Hey, if it costs a team a game, there's going to be a riot at NRL court. Seriously.
But sorry, and is it designed? It's designed to protect the defending player.
I don't know what it's designed to do. It's just silly. They made that penalty because blokes were just running through and not contesting the ball at all. Now they're saying instead of getting 1 hand to it, you've got to get 2. It's not.
Doesn't quite make sense.
It just doesn't make sense.
Boys, that was fun. Thank you. We'll do it again next time.
It is.
Thank you.
Josh Morris and Andrew Webster joining us. By the way, you can subscribe to all of our podcasts via Instagram, YouTube, and also your podcast feed. Just search for the Continuous Call Team.